Sure that's turned up. All right, it says we're live. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Proximity.fun. My name's Tristan, and I have been out of commission for like 2 months. Been really swamped with school and just didn't have a chance to really work on any of this other stuff, and I really regret that. But I am back in action, and we're going to take a look at today's Bluetooth beacon and proximity marketing news. Now, this is going to be going out in the newsletter here in about 5 minutes after this video is finished. I just need to get this on here so I have a link. If you would like to sign up for that newsletter, then you'll find it right here. There'll be a link to this in the description. Then also I have a link to the newsletter itself, which is right here. We're going to talk about 3 stories today. But just to give you an idea, this entire thing is 19 pages long. You got smart city news, got NFC stuff in here. We have, oh, actually, this is right all over here. So we have Bluetooth beacon news. We've got, these are all the different sections and headings. This is kind of neat. We just added all the stuff in here. So yeah, we've got Bluetooth beacons. We've got we removed the IoT because nobody ever looked at it. But if it happened during the last week, it's going to be on here. So again, if you want to check this out, there's 19 pages worth of articles and news and content to go out and get your Bluetooth beacon fix with. So make sure to check that out. And there are links to both of these in the description below. And let me know if you guys have any questions. So that being said, let's go ahead and get into the news. So first thing I thought was kind of interesting looking through this was we have gas stations that are starting to more fully adopt NFC. Now, specifically what they're wanting to do is they want to enable wireless payments. So instead of using your debit card to pay for something, you use your cell phone. So you walk up to the gas station terminal thing. What do they even call it? The gas pump. Walk up to the gas pump, tap your phone on the gas pump, and it would actually pay for your gas. That way you don't have to worry about your cards, like if you lose your card. And there's some another really neat thing about this as far as the security issues. So we've known and heard in the news for quite a while now about how they're putting little card readers on the card slots for these devices, right? So when you go in and pay for your gas, then there's another device outside of that that's actually reading your card information. And they can use that to go and steal your credit card information and everything else. And so there's going to be a significantly more secured method, at least until hackers figure out a way to hack the NFC information. But one of the things that specifically is very NFC focused is the extra security, because the information is being sent one way, it's just going beep and sending it to the information, or sending it to the device that receives the information. So it should be more secure, and I thought it was interesting. So these are going to start rolling out in Shell and Allego. The Argentine in me wants to say Allego, but that's probably not how it's actually pronounced. And they said the very first of these gas stations went live in London, and it went up today. So any of you who are out in London who want to go pay for gas with an NFC tag, that's the way to do it. So I thought that was pretty neat. And again, we're just looking at an expansion of the Google Pay, the Apple Pay. But again, it's using the NFC technology. And as that becomes more and more common, then we're going to see much more adoption of that. And I think that we can see evidence of that with the iOS, recently opening that up on their newer phones. So, woohoo! Let's hope this stuff keeps going. Next story we wanted to take a look at, scroll all the way up here. And this is another country. So this is going to sound kind of weird, but ever since I came back from Argentina, I can't pronounce names of other places without pronouncing it like in Argentine, like without pronouncing it in Spanish. I'm pretty sure this place is called Seoul. But anyways, so what these guys want to do is they want to turn the entire city into a smart city. Now, these guys are already pretty darn close to being South Korea. All kinds of technology already implemented out there and doing all kinds of really cool stuff with it. They said that they had already started working on this and using blockchain for several of their different public services. So they said that they will see the technology added, referring to blockchain in this case, to 14 different public services in the city. And they want to do it for voting and for labor welfare certification issuance, etc. Now, one of the other things that they want to do is they want to start using, again, expanding on the smart city and the IoT functions, using things like Bluetooth beacons, using things like NFC, using several of the other IoT technologies in order to tie into blockchain, which is a very secure method of processing information to allow things like voting. So you can go out and you can vote with your cell phone because this is going to have a lot of information stored on it, in theory. It would also be something that could help with, like voter fraud and just keeping track of the information that's being submitted. You can also use it for just all kinds of really neat stuff. And we're seeing a lot of implementations here in the US of blockchain with IoT technology, specifically Bluetooth beacons for medicine. One of the places that we see it a lot, and I'm still trying to figure out the exact methods behind it, but we see it a lot in in taking care of medicine. So like making sure that certain medicines stay at certain temperatures and making sure that nothing's disturbed in like the fridges or whatever, in order to make sure that the medicine remains effective and helpful, while at the same time using blockchain technology in order to control who's actually getting access to that medicine, who's taking it out, who's putting it in, things like that. So all kinds of really neat stuff going on, especially when you look at, the easy and safe and secure transfer of information. If you can have access to your medical records and have that on some sort of blockchain and have that attached to an NFC tag or a card, for example, then you can walk into a hospital and just go beep, and then that hospital would have all the information that they need in order to take care of you. And that can also expand even to things like first responders. So, for example, if you have a heart attack out in the middle of a park, then they would have access to your information on your driver's license, for example. They just scan your driver's license, and then they can have your entire medical history and know exactly what kind of problems you may have had in the past. They can get all that information about you instantly and potentially help save your life. So all kinds of really neat things that you can do with that. And I said it's one of those things that I need to dive into a little bit more. I haven't really had a chance to get into really get into blockchain and how all that works. But I know some guys who would probably be happy to teach me. So we're going to be working on that in these next couple of weeks. And then finally, the other thing that I thought was kind of neat is from Honda. And what these guys want to do is, talking about smart cities, talking about IoT, talking about Bluetooth beacons. These guys want to use a type of beacon to track like the different intersections within the city, and then have that information fed back into an automated system that then drives all of the automated cars. And the idea is that you would be able, that the vehicle itself would be able to see, in a certain sense, what's around the corner, because that information is already being provided back to a main system through a Bluetooth beacon. Again, pretty darn neat. And the idea is that if the automated vehicle knows that there's a car around the corner, that way we don't have to worry about the vehicle's onboard systems or onboard sensors to detect that vehicle. They can map out the entire city all at once, and then that way they can more easily, more effectively avoid accidents and traffic. Now, the other neat thing about that is if you're able to map out the entire city, like all the traffic that's out there, right? And then you're able to direct these different vehicles using these automated systems, you can actually completely erase traffic, like altogether. And as somebody who had to drive, how far was it? It took me anywhere between an hour and a half, 2 hours to get to work every day, and then an hour to 2 hours to get back from work every day. And I only lived 30 miles away from work. And so that entire time I was stuck in traffic. I would sit there literally for 20, 30 minutes without even moving, driving up the west side of St. Louis, Missouri. And it was awful. And it never seemed to get better. And they kept adding extra lanes to the highway to see if that would work. They'd, fix different on-ramps and see if that would work. And it never really made a huge difference. And mostly the reason why is because you'd have a big influx of vehicles coming in that were trying to merge with the highway, right? And so everybody, instead of, moving to the left or whatever, they would actually slow down so that way the vehicles in front of them could get, can move into place. And then because they would slow down, the cars behind them would have to slow down, and then they would have to slow down even more to let the next person on, and so on, until eventually you're sitting in a parking lot on the highway. And so if they're able to automate that using the different, again, smart technologies, then that would save people a lot of time. And it would actually help. They talked about how it would help with things like global warming. They said it would help with things like accidents on the road. There's all kinds of ways that this would really be helpful. And on top of that, if you're able to remove a lot of those limitations, then the vehicles themselves are capable of driving faster than what the current laws allow. And so, you can actually make it so that way you could travel faster down those highways because you don't have to worry about crashing with anybody. So just some neat stuff going on out there, and I want to share it with you guys. And again, of course, you can find all of this information in the newsletter, which you'll find right here. And of course, there are links to these in the description below. And so like I said, I'm going to send this out to the entire group right now, but I want to talk to you guys about it real quick. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Just make sure that you sign up for the newsletter, and I think that'll do it. So hope you guys have found this information to be interesting and helpful. If you have come across any other interesting news in either Bluetooth beacons, proximity marketing, IoT, or NFC, or smart city stuff, because that's really a lot of what a lot of you guys have been looking at, then let me know. You can either email that to me or stick them in the comments, and I'll go and check it out. And I think that'll do it for me. Hope you guys have an excellent day, and I will see you guys next week in the next video. Bye. Oh, wait, and don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Okay, now how do I turn this thing off? That one.